Hello. Today I want to talk about SimACo. SimACo is the acronym of Simple Aquarium Controller. It is created mainly for freshwater aquariums, but all controller functions can be used also in marine aquaria. You can change controller settings and view current aquarium status through Angry Fish application. It is completely free. This application can be installed on Android and Windows devices. Wi-Fi connection is used to connect to the SimACo controller. Using Angry Fish application, you can connect to your aquarium controller from any place in the world where is an internet connection. Now the fourth controller generation available. Here you can see the controller. It has the main board and control board, which has a light crystal display and rotary encoder. Some functions are directly integrated into the controller. Other functions require additional sensors and boards. Here are three sensors: water temperature sensor, aquarium LED lighting temperature sensor, and ambient temperature sensor. Here are additional boards. Flow sensors board needed for aquarium filters flow rate monitoring. There is a MOSFET driver board for aquarium LED lighting control. This board is designed for constant voltage aquarium LED lighting, for example, LED strips. And also there is a Meanwell LDDH driver board to control and supply constant current to the LED lighting made of LED modules. The main idea was to make a simple, easily controllable, reliable, and relatively cheap device which helps to make aquarium owners' life easier. Buying separately all required fabric-made controllers for separate functions are expensive, so this controller is cheaper alternative, and it has all main functions required to control freshwater aquarium equipment. This is semi-DIY controller because in order to assemble a controller, soldering is not needed. All boards are already soldered. You will only need to connect all parts using usual wires. SimACo best fits for the users which like DIY and have basic electrical and IT skills and know what the wire is. Controller is powered from the mains. Wide AC voltage is supported, 120 to 230 volts AC. New functions are constantly added. So what you can do with the 4th generation aquarium controller: control LED lighting and LED cooling. 4 channels are available so you can control 4 different colors LEDs manually or automatically. In manual control mode, user can turn LEDs off or on. When LEDs are on, brightness for each channel can be set from 0% to 100%. In automatic control mode, controller can change LED brightness uniformly through a selected period of time. This means you can simulate sunrise, sunset, or moonlight effects when LEDs are uniformly dimmed, for example, from 0% to 100%. Also, LED brightness can be set to stay constant through a selected period of time. Controller generates 3.3 volts PWM signals in the outputs. LEDs cannot be connected directly to main board outputs. For this, you can use additional Meanwell LDDH driver board or MOSFET driver board. LED temperature sensor can be connected to the controller. This sensor can be attached to LED cooling radiator. Sensor will measure radiator temperature. If temperature will rise above threshold set by user, then cooling fan will be activated. Turn off or on automatically high voltage 120 to 230 volts AC devices using timers. For this, there are 8 dedicated channels to control devices like water filter, air pump, CO2 valves, aquarium fluorescent or metal halide lights, etc. Channels have inbuilt separate timers which have a 1-minute resolution. Timers allow to turn on or off aquarium devices several times per day. Also manual control available where you can turn on or off channels manually. Measure and control aquarium water temperature. Aquarium water temperature is measured using a water temperature sensor. Controller will activate water heater or cooling fan block when water temperature drops down or rises. So controller will support constant aquarium temperature set by the user. Measure ambient temperature. Ambient temperature sensor will measure air temperature in your room where aquarium is placed. Measure water pH and control CO2 valve. Controller can adjust CO2 level in the water by measuring pH level and turning CO2 valve on or off. So controller will support constant water pH value set by the user. Also, controller can shut down CO2 at night when plants do not need it. Automatically fertilize aquarium with liquid fertilizers using peristaltic pumps. 4 types of liquid fertilizers can be dosed. User selects dosing time, dosing amount in milliliters, and days at which fertilizers will be dosed. Controller automatically calculates the time needed to keep pumps activated. After dosing, fertilizers amount left in containers are automatically calculated. Each type of fertilizer can be dosed automatically up to 24 times per day. Also, manual dosing available. Select fertilizer type, dosing amount, and activate command to start manual dosing. It will start immediately. Automatic water top-off and automatic water change functions. For those functions, high-voltage pumps and mechanical float switches are used to track water level in the aquarium and water reservoirs. 3 water reservoirs can be used, a reservoir for wastewater and 2 reservoirs for freshwater and saltwater. So freshwater and saltwater aquariums are supported. User can set the controller to disconnect some aquarium equipment while water change is active. For example, this can be filters, heaters, water pumps, and other equipment that cannot work at low water level. Both top-off and water change functions have manual and automatic modes. In manual mode, both functions can be executed immediately. In auto mode, top-off will be executed every day at a time set by user. In auto mode, water change will be executed at selected intervals and time set by user. The user can select from a 1 to 30-day interval for the water change function. Uninterruptible power supply. If you are using an uninterruptible power supply to supply power to your aquarium devices, you can set the controller to disconnect non-critical loads when a blackout occurs. SimACo has an integrated mains voltage sensor in order to know when power from the mains is lost. Filters flow rate monitoring. Filter flow rate monitoring helps to find out when filter is clogged and it is time to clean it. To monitor flow rate sensors must be used. Sensors must be connected to the main board through additional flow sensors board. Additional features. All main controller settings are automatically saved to non-volatile memory, so there is no need to restore every setting after battery replacement or blackout. Controller has incorporated bootloader. Bootloader allows to update a microcontroller's program, firmware, through a USB cable using the Windows Angry Fish application when new firmware and software versions are available. Controller has inbuilt alarm system. You will know when LED radiator temperature is too high, water temperature is too high or too low, when water pH is too high or too low, levels of liquid fertilizers in containers are low, level of water in top-off container is low, aquarium top-off time exceeded, and several others. If an alarm exists, an integrated buzzer will beep, warning the user that action must be taken. The main board has terminals for the switch, which is mounted in the controller's case. Using the switch, the user can disconnect all high-voltage devices in order to do aquarium maintenance safely. Controller has implemented a special LCD menu named Fast Control. With a long press of the rotary encoder, you can quickly enter this menu, and from there you can select the desired action. These actions can be show desired menu on LCD or activate some functions. This is convenient to use fast control functions for frequently used actions. There are 4 actions available. Each action can be pre-programmed by the user from the selected list. For example, you can pre-program the first action to show water temperature, and the second one to show aquarium pH level. SimACo has its own internal clock. When the power cable is removed, the controller will track the current time using an internal 3 volts lithium battery. 3D printed cases. You do not need to drill holes in your own box where the controller will be mounted. There are 3D printed cases for the controller, LDDH driver board, MOSFET driver board, and flow sensors board. Cases are printed with PEG plastic using an FDM printer. They all have holes for wiring and PCB boards. All cases have holders at the bottom, which allow you to attach the case to your aquarium cabinet easily with several screws. Cases are not fully waterproof, but they are created to protect internal electronics from the water as much as possible. On the controller webpage, you can download for free STL drawings for the cases and print them yourself if you have a 3D printer. SimACo logs the data from 5 sensors: ambient temperature, water pH sensor, flow rate sensor number 1 and number 2. Also, some channels' output states are logged, which affects those 5 sensors' values. For this cooling fan, water heater, CO2 solenoid, and lighting device states are monitored. Angry Fish app visualizes log data as graphs. From the graphs, you can make several conclusions. For example, how effective are cooling fans? How good your CO2 diffuser is. You can check how water pH level swings through night-day periods, how ambient temperature affects aquarium water temperature, how aquarium lighting affects pH level, etc. Aquarium sensors and devices are logged automatically. Logs are done at 10-minute intervals. 2560 logs can be written to SimACo memory. So a maximum about 17.7 days time interval can be logged. When logs memory is full, the oldest logs will be rewritten continuously with the new logs.